Hello, hello, hello. I think I am live. Howdy, so. I'm just going to go ahead and work on this dablication while people are joining in. And if there are any problems with my stream, if somebody would be kind enough to let me know, well, I'd really appreciate it. Just now looking back here, make sure there's nothing too humiliating, but it seems okay. How's it going, everybody? Good, I hope. I hope good for everybody. Short stream tonight, just wanted to stop by and say hi, see how everyone's doing. Enjoy a couple of things to reefer with all of you fine folks. As I said, we're going to start with this nice dab here. Just about finished with this half gram of crumble. Going to open up a new thing after that, but let's go ahead and do it. So I've got some crumble here. I'd walk all the way over there, but then I don't want this to cool down that much, and I'm lazy. And that sounds like a pretty good excuse. So I got myself a nice size dab here to start. Welcome, everybody. Very nice. Don't remember what the strain is. Do remember that it's like 83% THC. Like it quite a bit. Okay, now we'll really get the party started. We're one dab in. And let's go ahead and get the star of the show, the volcano, going here. And while that is inflating, I'll do my customary, this is what I've got, guys. Mr. Bill! Sorry, Mr. Bill, I'm here. My total bad dude. I was just standing a little bit away from the microphone while getting stuff ready. So this is what we've got today for you guys to enjoy is the Claiborne County weed. It is 1 ounce of GMO is the strain. But there you can see the stuff I love to say, which is 36.25% THC. And welcome, Billery, and what's up, Hellbilly Hippie? Oh, shit. I must have punctured this bag. I did. Oh, no. I just ruined this bag. I just touched the dab side. Crap. I touched the plastic on the dab, which has punctured this poor bag. Thankfully, I've got 5 more to go. Thank you, Mr. Bill. Sorry about that, Mr. Bill. I was just away filling up my weed. I'm normally quite a bit closer. Now, as a matter of fact, I'll turn this down because that gain was way up there. I hope that sounds better. I better finish this quickly before I lose everything to my fuck up. Mad Crypto, what's up, Mad Crypto? Glad you could join us, sir. Derek, glad you could make it as well. You missed my fuck up. My poor volcano bag I ruined by getting it too close to the sun. And by the sun, I mean my dab rig. Melted the plastic. I don't think it actually touched. I just think it's that hot, and it got close enough to deform the plastic enough to melt it. Mr. Bill, I would love to pass this bag to you if you were here. And I know you could really use it, Mr. Bill. You're always having to experience some bullshit. Oh, no! Mad Crypto, you just missed. Fuck it, I'll do it again. Same stuff I've been doing for the past, 2 weeks, because it's taken me a while to get through this. I've been doing a lot of reviews, not doing the same amount of weed I normally do, because I've been doing a lot of review stuff instead of Traditional stuff. So this is the Claiborne County 1 ounce, 36.25% THC, GMO. Very, very, very fine weed. Mr. Poop Tube is back. Welcome back, Poop Tube. How are you, sir? Woo! Well, I probably, just as a heads up, if I'm streaming tomorrow, it will either be around this time or much earlier in the day. I will be away for the afternoon and evening. I hope to stream tomorrow. I really do. But if it do, it will be way before this or right around here, not the sort of normal 3 or 4 in the afternoon. Poop Tube is doing very well. Glad to hear it, man. Excuse me. I destroyed my wonderful volcano bag here before you joined in. Melted the plastic. So this is our farewell to this volcano bag. It has served us well for, I think I've had it for about 3 weeks now. You were a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful piece of plastic. And we're going to thank you for your service. It's, we had many memories. We had laughs together. We cried together. We shed blood together. Oh my God, we talked about our first kisses together. We talked about our first gay experiences together. And our last. I mean, it wasn't for us, but it was, you know, to each their own. This bag and I, we've been through a lot. And it's going to be really, really sad to throw it in the trash in just a few moments. Billary says it is... Excuse me. Dear God. I wish I hadn't broken my magma. Says, it's 10:30 in St. Louis. Ah, that good old Central Time. Central Time. The STL, man. Midwest cities. There should be... We should be doing a lot more to revitalize our Midwestern cities. St. Louis is a cool place. It's a cool town. It has cool infrastructure. It has cool shit. It just... I actually don't... I shouldn't speculate too much. I don't know. Is St. Louis a city that is growing still, or is it, like a lot of other Midwest cities, is it actually contracting? I just wish we did more to help out our Rust Belt or cities. You know, your Ohio cities, all your Michigan cities, your Milwaukee's, your St. Paul's, your all those fun things. Cool places, but need more resources. YouTube is PoopTube says, now weed related, but how is the chair? Want to buy one, but very expensive. I love it. I've had it for like 3 years or something. They are an upgrade for sure. This is a nice, I mean, you know, they're like 2 levels of these dumb racing chairs. I guess they're probably 3 levels, but there are only 2 levels for us plebes. There are the shitty knockoffs, and then there are like the 5 good brands, and this is one of those, not one of the shitty knockoffs. I don't know, I couldn't tell you between any of like the good brands, which one's like good and which one's, you know, but this DX Racer, I love it. Actually, it's been hidden in this very place for a while, and just swapped it out with the old IKEA chair, and Gotta say, it's been an upgrade. Okay, Mad Crypto says, I took some Mary's Medicinals, the Remedy THC. I've had Mary's Medicinals. The little bottle has 1,000 milligrams, supposedly. I took about 100. I don't know if it, maybe a cushy would get me higher. But it's a fair price of about 50 to 60 bucks. Mad Crypto, I have the exact same thoughts about Mary's Medicinals and a lot of tinctures in general. I genuinely like tinctures. They don't hit me as hard as baked good edibles. They just don't. I mean, but they're really good values for high dose edibles now. You know, I think I'm kind of with you. I would say it's like, and I just don't know exactly why it is this way, but 100 milligrams in a tincture form is, I mean, obviously these things don't scale in some linear fashion, but you know, it hits me about as half to as 3/4 as hard as something that's in a, you know, brownie or cookie or something with a lot of fat in it. Again, don't know quite why, but it's still really nice to be able to do tinctures because you can do 300 milligrams pretty quickly and easily without eating a bunch of shit. And even if that 300 milligrams isn't as strong as, you know, 300 milligram brownie, well, it's still going to get you pretty high. So I thought a lot of similar things about Mary's Medicinals. We should review it in the future. Mr. Bill says, alas, poor bag. Oh, no, says Mr. Bill in response to our dearly departed. I'm going to take this because this is valuable, but this... Oh, shit! Holy hell! I'm, like a good, who's a famous basketball player? LeBron James. I'm like LeBron James. So, somebody give me millions of dollars. Actually, I think he's supposed to be a really decent, good human being. And, good for you, LeBron James. Hillbilly Hippie says, it's 11:25 there in Georgia on the eastern seaboard. We're just going through all the time zones now. We could talk about time zones and how weird time zones are and why time zones are strange and how time zones came to be and how bizarro they are if you really think about them. You can thank your local train company. By say local, I mean your long-departed train company for the idea of time zones, or the not at least the, if not the idea, the widespread adoption. Train companies were like, oh shit, dog, you know, we're booking it across the country, moving way faster than anybody else can, and what we're gonna call 7:30 in fucking Boston is gonna feel, you know, they're not gonna call that 7:30 in fucking Topeka. They're gonna have a very different time for that, and there was just, for the great majority of human history, neither a reason to settle that difference, nor the technology to make that difference settled, or even necessary to be settled. So, yeah, trains, and needing to have accurate stops for trains. That's where time zones came from. Fun. Okay. Billery says St. Louis is trash. I know that it is a city that has tons of fucking problems, and likely deserves to be called trash, you know, from its own residents. But I still think, like, if we gave those Midwest cities the resources they needed, and then an excuse for young, talented people to go to them, to want to live there, like maybe offer free rent to, these cities that are like fucking losing people. Maybe offer rent subsidies to like people in their 20s to go move there. Stuff like that. Get some new blood in. I don't know. Billary says he wouldn't say it's growing so much as like burning to the ground with crime, low income, horrible local politics. The huge. Just like most Midwest cities. Kicked in the teeth by, by everybody up the ladder. Jen says Kobe, I guess in response to who is a famous basketball player. Kobe is now dead, I think. Right? Yeah, he died before the world really turned inside out. I'm not a sports guy in any way, shape, or form, but I do live in Los Angeles, and it was impossible to escape that fact. I live in Long Beach, so not Los Angeles. I live in Long Beach, but in the area I live in, within like a 5-minute drive, there were 3 different Kobe murals up within, like 2 weeks of his untimely passing. So pour one out for Kobe. Why was I like a basketball player? Oh, I threw a thing away. Oh, very nicely with a very good shot. So, point being, pour one out for Kobe, and I am literally LeBron James. Mario says, all the way from Phoenix, smoking on that purple gelato. What's good over at your place? What's going on, Mario? Welcome back from the absolute oven and I don't know. I was gonna say other mean things about Phoenix and the unholy temperatures there, but you're from Phoenix. Nobody needs. God damn. I'm sure if you're from Phoenix, that you fucking hate people talking to you about how hot it is. Like when you're like traveling and you're like, I'm from Phoenix, and people are like, oh boy, it gets real hot there, and you're probably like, oh boy, you're the 50th person to tell me that today. Like, don't you know one other thing about Phoenix? I don't. Although I do, actually, because it's like I think for the past 2 years, it's been the fastest growing metropolis in the United States, and for the last decade has routinely been in the top 5, which just, again, boggles my mind. I guess it's because land is still cheap in Phoenix, because they just sprawl a lot. I don't know. Mr. Bill says, Mr. Bill, remember the Saturday Night Live skits? Of course, Mr. Bill, that's why I was doing the oh no voice. The first time I saw a Mr. Bill skit was these, when I was a kid. I think movie theaters still do these things. These like summer movie camps. That's a dumb term for it. For kids, basically they would just show you old like family movies over the summer in the mornings and charge $2 or $1 a ticket and have cheaper concessions. And it was just an excuse to like take your kids to go see older movies for cheap during, the summer when they had nothing else to do. I think movie theaters still do that. I used to do that all the time as a kid, and I loved it. And for whatever reason, they used to have weird shorts and skits on beforehand, and they would sometimes have Mr. Bill skits, and young me thought they were the pinnacle of comedy. I thought Mr. Bill getting routinely grisly and gruesomely murdered was really, really satisfying comedy. Still do, actually. Not that I've seen Mr. Bill in a while, but what I meant to say is I still have the same sense of humor and sensibilities that I do when I was that age. fart joke will make me laugh just as much now as it did then. And again, shame on anybody who does not laugh at farts. You are heartless. Yo Suave, or I'm sorry, Joe Suave, Yo Suave. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. Mr. 159 or Joe 159, Yo 159. I am so sorry. I love you too. Derek says, and then came COVID. Mario says, being from here, you never get used to the heat. I just imagine no person alive can get used to that kind of heat. Like, the human body is literally not designed to get used to that kind of heat. Or it breaks down in that kind of heat. Mario says, you are on point. It's an everyday thing in the summer. Yeah, generally if you're from somewhere, or if you have something is remarkable in some particular way, and somebody knows that about you, and they're trying to make some kind of conversation, you can be rest assured that that one particular identifying feature is going to get brought up. So if you're from Phoenix, be prepared to talk about the weather. If you're from Seattle, I would usually, for years, I would have said you would talk about the rain, but now you might talk about Amazon. So Seattle might be out. But if you're from Detroit, you talk about the destitution. Or not if you are, but if you know somebody from Detroit, you're like, I'm sure the boy, it's so hot in Phoenix, the comparative to that in Detroit is, boy, why are you living in Detroit? Sorry, Detroit. Mr. Bill says, I was in college at Northwest University in Chicago the first time I saw a Saturday Night Live Mr. Bill skit. We got ourselves a real smarty pants over here, Mr. Northwestern. Great university. My wife really, really wanted to go to Northwestern for her undergrad. Glad she didn't. Very glad she didn't. You were just in college. How old are you, Mr. Bill? Do you mind me asking? Did you happen to watch it on Saturday Night Live while you were in college, like in the 90s or the 80s or whenever I guess it would have been the 80s probably for Mr. Bill. Or did you happen to watch it on YouTube and you're younger? Because it could go either way. That's the magic of YouTube. Kids and their YouTube. Mr. Bill is taking a snooze. Mr. Bill, it's been nice hanging out with you. Sorry, I totally missed your question about Bruiser, who I did not remember. Abdullah, Mr. Go For It, says, gotta bring up the Steve Nash and Shaq days. Of some city that I maybe mentioned. I can't be made to be responsible to know what I'm talking about. I am in the middle of a review, by the way. Not a review. I did this review yesterday. It had some of the same stuff I did for the review yesterday. The Select 1-to-1 tincture. And it's working great. The G Money 1974 says, oh no! What's up, Wheats? Really enjoy your reviews. The G Money doing his best Mr. Bill, I guess. And then Mr. Billary Clinton says Mr. Bill is actually the real Mr. Bill. He is the original, oh no, Mr. Bill. Not really though. Bill Clinton. Did you know, Clinton was not his that's a shitty way of describing that. It's his real last name. If he wants it to be his last name, Bill Clinton is his real last name. So I apologize for phrasing it as, and good night, by the way, Mr. Bill. Thanks for hanging out with us. I apologize for framing it as, that's not his real last name. But Bill Clinton's last name was not Clinton. I think it was Jefferson. He had it changed. The more you know. Billary. I don't know what that factoid had to do with anything. It's not meant to indict him. It is not meant to exonerate him. It is meant to simply, banally, stupidly, and pointlessly inform. Okay, let me go get another bag. And by another bag, I mean a literal another bag, because I killed that first one. With heat. Get up there. I'm just grabbing the new bag. Look at this. All unfoiled. Oh my. I've got my parrot shirt on. Oh, here we go. Let's fill her up. This is that GMO I was talking about. I really like it when it unfurls for the first time. It kind of unshrivels. It's a satisfying sensation. You know what? Because it's a short stream, just because I'm checking in, we'll finish out strong here. I'll do another dab for you guys, and then I'll come hang out with you while I enjoy this last bag. But let's really up the stakes. Here we go. Wow. When I come back, guys, I'm going to do a lot of smug fucking bragging, and I'm sorry. And even worse, I'm going to do smug fucking bragging that's totally unearned, and my hubris will absolutely come back to bite me in the ass. So we'll wait for that to cool down a little bit. To be honest, I don't quite understand the ritual of the heating of the nail or banger or whatever device you use for dabs to heat it and then let it cool for a moment. I know you're supposed to, but I don't quite understand the physics, like why that is. Anyways. Wonderful. Very nice. Hello from the real Mr. Bill. Uh-oh. We got our, third Bill in here. Williams, galore. Boy, William is one of those amazing names that has so many fucking variations. William, Will, Bill, Willie. I think that's it. Billy. Oh, Billy. But that's all of those names can come from a single, just that one original source. So anybody with, those names, which I find the idea of, I find people who name their children something but then intend to call them, actually use the name that they refer to them in speech as is something entirely different. And then that was the intention all along. I mean, I get it sometimes where, like, the kid will choose a nickname or, like, want a shorter version than the parents so that their, like, real name is different than their birth certificate name, the name that everybody uses, their real name. But I just do not understand the people who basically, use the birth certificate to write something, but never intend to actually refer to their child as that thing, except I guess if yelling at them. I don't understand it. I mean, there are a lot of things that I don't understand about names and naming conventions. I think a lot of vanity hides in, I mean, it's not hidden, it's plain as anything. But yeah, there's a lot of vanity there, man. It's hard for me to take anybody who names their kid after themselves seriously. I really just, sorry to anybody who has given themselves a junior or the third or the fourth or whatever the health. But I don't get that. I really don't get that at all. Could just be me. Bag time. Derek says he needs some of that 36 percentage. I didn't know that I needed, Derek, this 36 percentage GMO, but I now know I can't go back. That's not true. I certainly won't buy this nice of weed all the time. I'll be going right back. Brian Molina throwing in the Canadian Maple Leaf. Welcome, Brian. I hope if you are north of the border, I hope you're doing okay, and I hope you are doing a good job keeping us sickly, virally ridden Americans out of your relatively healthy and pristine winter wonderland. That is also known as Canada. And that's how I feel about that. Bill M says, I moved platforms to YouTube. Oh! Well, Bill, welcome back. Thanks for joining us here on the YouTubes. That's where most of us hang out as. We do it on all of them, though. Periscope, YouTube, Twitch. Back when there was a mixer. Oh, man, those crazy heady days of 2 weeks ago. Ah, wow. What a colossal pit of money. How cool is it to be as rich as Microsoft? That, like, for years you can just burn. I mean, just fucking just blowtorch money on an experiment that everybody knew was gonna fail, i.e. Mixer, and do that for years. Just continue to just destroy stacks and stacks of money for a project everybody knows is just going to peter out or get bought or, like, get rolled into something anyways. And then to be Microsoft and do that for years, just burn all that money. And then, out of the blue, even after spending ungodly millions of dollars, tens of millions of dollars, to get exclusive contracts for the hottest fuckboys on Twitch, and then you just say, nah, we're pulling the plug. And then just like days later, it's gone. This thing that, they've probably, it's so wonderful to be a Fortune 500 company. Not a Fortune 500, a Fortune 5 company. Microsoft is routinely, trades bloody punches with Apple, Amazon, and Google for that old numero uno position. All them $1 trillion companies with a T. Boy, We got there. It didn't take that long. And then it's in a move that should not surprise you, but should certainly alarm you. When Apple became worth $1 trillion, it was very, very, very quickly thereafter that the other titans then all of a sudden were just sort of, their stock prices went up enough to then hit that $1 trillion market cap. Why? Not because those companies suddenly became more valuable, but because humans are fucking weird, and the fact that one company was suddenly deemed to be worth $1 trillion by an arbitrary metric, that idea was lodged in people's heads that, like, oh, maybe other companies are, which then spurred investment into those things. And the fact that Apple became $1 trillion company very likely is what then pushed the other ones over the line. Wild, son. It's wild. Human psychology, or behavioral economics, the only real economics. Man, economics. If you think being a Fortune 5 company is nice in terms of being able to be so wrong in such colossal ways and still be unbelievably respected and rich, well, do I have a job for you? You can be an economist instead. There, you can have a whole field that is basically fucking tea leaf reading bullshit, and you can win the respect of nations for things that, man, economics, dude. I am shitting on economics as a study, because the idea that it is something that follows these ideas of utter rationality, and oh my god, I'm not gonna do a rant on economics. I'm just gonna say, turn to my boy NNT, Nicholas Nassim Taleb. Look at your black swans. Look at your fooled by randomness. And if you can read those sources and still, have any respect in your body for the idea of economics as a knowable science, it's weird because I'm not suggesting there's no reason not to study it necessarily, especially things like behavioral economics, things that actually take into account human behavior and human psychology, which is, of course, what makes traditional economics, what makes it what it is the idea that the humans are these perfectly rational actors that make decisions based not upon emotional reactions or cultural reactions or decisions based upon convenience or ignorance, but no, we base everything we do economically entirely 100% on these deeply, thoughtfully held rational opinions. And will convince whole economies of nations to adopt our ideas, and when those ideas eventually lead to catastrophe, we'll say, hey, it was the one situation in which my ideas could have not worked, and that's not my fault. If anything, it means we need to double down on my ideas because it'll definitely work this time. If it fucked up the first time, what that means is it shouldn't be taken as evidence that or suggestion that I'll fuck up in the future. It should actually be understood that makes it less likely that I'll fuck up in the future because it was such a small chance that I fucked up to begin. This was a 1 trillion to 1 shot, and that's not going to happen again. that is how a lot of economics works, is coming up with intricate models and theories, and when those utterly fail, you don't blame your flawed science and flawed reasoning. You blame the market, and you blame the people themselves for not following the model, that the theoretical model that you had stupidly constructed to begin with. Remember, it's not their fault. It's your fault for not sticking to their model that you did not know about. So don't blame them. Blame everybody else. And then give them a second chance, because, again, the chance that they were wrong the first time is a zillion to one according to their math. So the chance they'll be right 2 times in a row is a zillion to one squared. So you'd be foolish not to listen to them again, because they can't be wrong. How could they? Zillion to one squared. Hillary Clinton says, what is that thumping sound? I don't know. King Yeti, I'm sorry about my rant for so long on my, about economics. Welcome. I'm so glad you're here. Thanks for joining us, man. I hope you got some sleep. Hope your twins are doing okay at home. The G Money 1974 says, you ever think about making some videos, visiting some of your favorite companies that make edibles, cartridges, and other new forms of THC? I would love to, actually. I'm terrible about self-promotion. I don't self-promote, really. I try not to. I hope I don't. I would love to do those kind of things. I just don't, I don't want to ask anybody for things, which is foolish and unfortunate, because I'm sure a lot of people would be happy to do things. But if you want to, I was going to say, feel free to self-promote for me, but that is self-promotion, and that would be, I wouldn't recognize the hypocrisy in what I had just said, so don't self-promote. Don't promote for me. Unless you want to. I can't stop you. Okay. But I would love to, I actually love interviewing people. G Money 1974. I just wish I would be better about reaching out to people, doing those kind of more collaborative things, because I love interviewing people. I used to do it kind of, almost did it almost did it entirely professionally. I find people fascinating. I love asking questions. I'm fascinated by all kinds of fucking things. And I can usually just find myself finding things to talk about with anybody about any subject, because I can usually find something about any kind of subject that has some kind of interest to me. But I like interviewing people. I like asking people questions. I'm not sure if I'm good at it, and I'm certainly not good at the inverse, but I do like it. So the answer was 1, which isn't an answer, G Money, but yes, I would love to do that at some point. I have just been really bad about making it happen. Vale Vila says, bro, hit that ish. That's for you, Vale Vila, and welcome, Vale Vila. King Yeti says, all models and STAPs can and will be manipulated. Lies, damn lies, and statistics. Although I do like stats. well, stats not really. Well, I mean, I guess the actual. I don't like statisticians, but I like the, I guess, math behind statistics. It's nowhere near as fun as probability. The greatest and most fun kind of non-math math there is. The most counterintuitive, the most probability, man. There's nothing that quite trips up and fucks up the human brain like probability. And by things like things that we very commonly use in real life, or think that we use in real life. We think we use probability all the time, and we do use probability all the time. But you would be surprised how often you get it exactly backwards with things that you're thinking about probabilistically, because it is, our brains are so fucking tricked by a lot of probability. Not the math itself, but the more word problem-y part that comes out in probability. Probabilities are often more like, the math isn't the harder part, it's like the logic behind it. It's like the, why is it this way? Like, the math for why a probability isn't generally super difficult, but it's the, but why did you use this math to come to this conclusion? That's the sort of fun, interesting, and tricky part about probability. Everybody, even if you hate math, everybody should read Jordan Ellenberg's book, How to Be Not Wrong, or How Not to Be Wrong. I can't ever remember which way it goes, which is crazy because it totally changes the meaning. Doesn't matter. He's a math professor at the University of Wisconsin, and it is just a book basically about simple probability mistakes that we make, and other sort of simple mathematical fallacies that we often don't even realize we commit or are privy to. It's great. Jordan Ellenberg, How to Be Not Wrong, How Not to Be Wrong. It is, you don't have to understand math at all to read the book and enjoy it. Not at all. But you should read it. It's very fun. Sorry, I have a hair in my mouth. I am sorry. Vale Vila says, how you feel about that Korova cookie? I love Korova cookies. I just wish they had the higher milligrammages. It's not their fault. They live in the same California I do. But I'd love to get to a friend in Arizona who can buy me some of their medical grade shit there that I could reimburse with a little extra cherry on top. Andrew Silva. Oh, Vale Vila says, who's behind you? Vale Vila, that is terrifying. I hope nobody. Because if so, it was a specter. Andrew Silva. Oh, guys, I am going to speed round it. Going to log off for the evening. Gonna take off. It was gonna be a short stream. I'm sorry I didn't mention that recently. Talked about it at the beginning. Just wanted to say hello. Enjoy these couple of bags with you guys. So I'm gonna speed round the rest of this chat here. Andrew Silva, do you like raw gardens? Yes. Andrew Silva, raw gardens is without a doubt the most popular thing people ask me about. I'm not exactly sure why. I mean, I know raw gardens is popular, but proportionally, they're not that popular proportional to the amount of questions and comments and recommendations and asks for recommendations about raw garden I get. I don't quite understand it. But yes, I do like them. Derek says you should take calls. That is a great idea. I am still working on setting it up. I have a Discord that I have not done anything with. I promise I will. Been busy. Jose says, what's up? Jose, glad you could join us, man. Sorry, I'm just saying hello and saying goodbye. Andrew, also, do you know what happened to Brass Knuckles? They used to be the best brand around. Now I can't find them anywhere. I don't know what happened, Andrew Silva, but you are right that they, I have, it wasn't until you mentioned it, but I have not seen them in many months. And they certainly were one of the most popular, they maybe were the most popular vape brand around for a while. I know they got very much, unfortunately, sort of targeted in that counterfeit cart saga that was making a lot of people ill and deathly ill. A lot of those carts that were making people ill were counterfeit black or brass knuckles cartridges. So maybe that has something to do with it. Maybe I don't know. If so, it's really sucks for them because there was nothing they could have done about it. 3HG Production says, do you think recreational cannabis quality will improve? Yes. I would be certain that anywhere that there is recreational cannabis being grown and sold, the quality will only improve. The THC amount of THC that will routinely be able to be extracted from weed will just continue to incrementally go up year over year. We're still so early in this. The science of it's already pretty robust. People have been doing a lot, but the amount of money that will be pouring into these operations guarantees that you're going to have, quality weed becoming insane. If by quality you're like me and you kind of just mean like high THC percentage, I think that is a given. And even the stuff like, exotic terpene profiles and cannabinoids, all that stuff will also, I think, just improve because there will be so much money pumped into research into how to make optimal crop. Because for people growing weed, especially if they're going to take that weed and turn it into concentrates or edibles or things like that, things where you're not buying necessarily the weight of the weed, the weed by weight, where you're buying it by the amount of milligrammage, say in an edible. Well, you just want the highest THC percentage weed you can get, and there's going to be a lot of money looking to make incredibly high THC marijuana at a cheap cost, and that's just going to make all kinds of costs go down. You can, unless something legally is to go catastrophically wrong, or there is some kind of horrific bacterial or viral disease that wipes out weed across the United States, you can guarantee without government intervention, weed prices will only continue to go down and the quality will only go up. It's gonna happen. Kenneth, welcome. Kenneth says, cheers, Wheats watched for a long time. Well, thanks, Kenneth. I'm glad you've tuned in and got to join us on these live streams. Thanks for being a long time fan. Dathy Goylan, I'm sorry, I'm probably butchering your name, says, probability. Don't know what that means. I'm sorry if I should. Jose is enjoying some raw gardens right now. And King Yeti says, the medical weed in Arkansas either sucks or is sprayed with terpenes. The black market I get is greenhouse from California, and it's always way better than the meds here. So, King Yeti, yes, I would say that is always going to be true, that the recreational weed from, because anything in Arkansas, I assume it's like any other state, it has to be grown and sold there. Well, the shit that they can do in Arkansas is not nearly as impressive as the stuff they can do in Southern California. This is the hub of weed entrepreneurship, of the weed science, of the weed food science, of the weed grow science. And they're just, the environment here is ripe for much better quality weed. But all that being said, King Yeti, unless for some reason the government decides to contract that medical market in Arkansas, it won't be as good as it is in California until there's interstate commerce, until we can sell you our shit and you can just buy ours and don't have to worry about it there. Until there's that, Arkansas weed will always be worse than California weed, but it will always still be improving. It'll, next year should, just by the laws of economics which don't exist, which we just went over, it should be both cheaper and stronger next year. But we shall see. You have a great night. Thank you as well, King Yeti. Get some sleep. Thanks for hanging out. And King Yeti says, Fogponics is a sea of screen in an interesting format. Huh. I'll have to check that out. Anyways, it's been wonderful hanging out with everybody. Thank you so much, guys. I really had a blast getting high and hanging out. Stay healthy, stay high, and I'll see you guys on a review or a live stream soon. Follow me on Twitter.